Hello everyone and welcome to The Bubbling Adventure, a podcast all about kids and how educating them positively can impact their entire life as well as society. Each week we're having conversations with guests on different themes, and our aim is to have open discussions, share different points of view and learn in a non-judgmental way. Today we're welcoming Nora, who runs Envolve Wellness, a non-profit social enterprise that delivers exercise programs designed for people living with long-term health conditions, disabilities, or additional needs. It's so nice to hear how the sessions can do wonders on such a large range of people with disabilities, whether they're diagnosed or not. The best way to support this podcast is to subscribe if you haven't already and write a review if you're listening from Apple Podcasts. But without further ado, let's begin.
Maman, maman, en faisant cette chanson.
Papa, papa, en faisant cette chanson.
Maman, papa, maman, papa.
Hi Nora, how are you?
Hi Julie, I'm all right, thank you. How are you?
Good, thank you so much for joining today.
Oh.
Could you please introduce yourself?
Thank you for having me. So my name's Nora. I'm a fitness instructor specialising in working with people with disabilities. That's in short. That's me as a whole.
Nice. So what brought you to actually do that? Is it something that you've always wanted to do?
I have always wanted to help people, and that's all I wanted to do since I was a child. What made me to go into doing more study and developing more skill set into disability areas is from my living experience. So I'm a carer. I care for two people at home, and also used to work with the disability charities. I really enjoy that side from empowerment that by working with them, seeing them happy and lighten up. And I always enjoy fitness side of it. So I trained up to become instructor some years ago, and then I decided to marry the two concepts together. I want to be niche, and I want to help the community, working for those people who need guidance and advice to become more active.
That's nice. And so what kind of people do you help on a day-to-day basis?
It actually could be anything, that any sort of disabilities, whether with a diagnosis or not. I am known as a lady who does box exercise for people with autism. Now that was because back in 2016 I started a community project in my local area. It's called Box Exercise for People with Disabilities, and it's autism friendly, and that's what started me off back in then. And I started to do a box exercise and was starting to do other activities. Could be any other fitness genre for people with disability, learning disability, people with dyspraxia, dyslexia, various conditions. I get them walk through the door. In the meantime, I start to take on some more work with people at an older age. I'm talking about over 50s. They don't necessarily have disabilities, but they have movement disorders. Most of them diagnosed with Parkinson's, other people who are diagnosed with Alzheimer's, MS, with other things. I was asked to deliver sessions specific for those conditions to help move better and feel better and learn the skills to become more independent. So that gave me lots of opportunities to work with more and more people with certain barriers. Could be movement barriers, could be mental health barriers. Yeah, so I now have a not-for-profit social enterprise company called Envolve Wellness, which is a company set around this concept of inclusion and provide specialized exercise interventions to help people get moving and improve their physical and mental health well-being.
Okay, so in any condition, you've found that moving is helping health, whether it's physical or mental. And so how does it work? Do you actually mix people from who have different conditions together, or do you have groups? How does it work?
Yeah, I have some projects that set up for kind of small umbrella term of conditions. So if you say autism, and autism is a very broad spectrum, and under autism there are different diagnoses. But as that project specifically, we welcome everybody who on that spectrum to come and join us, and everybody join us before they came into the session. They all kind of talk to me on the phone, so we get a little bit more understanding. Same with elder generations, whether they have Parkinson's or not. Most of the cases is I've been asked to deliver sessions for those specific groups. So it could be a Parkinson group, it could be a dementia group, or it could be a mix. So what determines the type of exercise is done by deeper discussions with these people to find out exactly what they need, how much timeline they have, and communicate with them about what I think is the best exercise for them to do to just help them reduce that anxiety. So no matter what age of the person and what diagnosed that person, is those deeper discussion that will make them walk through the door to come to exercise sessions, because exercise does help to improve overall well-being. But for a lot of people, it's a process to get there, and that can take various amounts of time to get there, and that needs a lot of personal touch. And that's what I'm doing with them.
Yeah, that's nice. So, just to recap, you're the one really like planning the sessions to know exactly what this group of people can do. So, you don't necessarily get a specific training for a specific group of people. You kind of like have to figure out what are the boundaries, what they could work on. Is that right?
I do have to upskill and study and research.
Okay.
As the years goes by, I do go to development. I do pay for more diploma, do more CPDs to upskills.
Nice.
Because as the person gets older, no matter what age they are at, start with me, as they get older, the condition change, and they can affect person's personality and behavior in a different way. So it's very, very important every year we go to upskills workshop and read more research on those journals. I can just do that at home, and those information happens all year round to help us. But yes, we do have to keep up our skill sets, because our clientele are classed as high risk.
Yeah, no, it totally makes sense, because also like each year we find out more about different conditions and what works. So I think it's great, and also it must be interesting for you to just keep learning all the time.
I keep learning. I love it. I love it, and I have a living experience as a carer, so I understand that struggle behind the scene. Back in the door, back in your home, you have certain struggles. You have a process to get this person outside the door to go to wherever that person wants to go. I've got that understanding, and it's very important. That element is very, very important. It cannot be imagined. So I'm privileged to have that personal experience, and I'm privileged to have some opportunities the past few years to kind of develop and implement all these specific interventions. So I'm having a lot of fun. We do have fun in session.
Yes, I bet. And so you mentioned boxing.
Boxercise.
So yes, why boxing in particular? What is it about boxing that works with these groups?
Boxercise. I don't remember exactly why at the beginning. I think I was doing boxercise anyway. I was teaching boxercise in the community hall to people. Those are generic people. They don't have anything, and I love it. I love the exercise. I love the variety, and there's no need to use music if I don't want to. It's a lot of fun, and also obviously I can't show you here, but on the boxing pads, there's a focus, there's a dot on the pads, and that is very important. It serves as a visual prompt. It's almost like a traffic light. So when people see it, and they will go for it. Well, you tell them you're looking for that focus. So it's a very, very easy and direct prompt for people to initiate an action. And that's what I like about it. It's very easy. It's on there. It's on your hand. Yeah, so I tried it. I wasn't sure whether box exercise was suitable to start with. Obviously, with time and effort and more research and more development, you just get into the flow and everything falls into places. And also, obviously, the more I do it, the better I know how to adapt. And it's a very, very safe exercise to do. So the box exercise we do is very adapted. I had to make sure it's adapted. It does not mean it's easy for the people I work with. It just means adapted, so it's suitably challenged for their levels. And it's just brilliant. So over the past few years, I just see more and more outcome for people who are sticking with the boxing activities, getting stronger and more confident. And I do that with people with Parkinson's as well. So it's the same outcome coming out of all this consistent participation.
Yeah, that's very true. I think boxing, like you can be in the same room as so many people and they all have different levels, but it doesn't really matter. You just go at your own pace. So I think it's very nice.
Yeah.
And also, yeah, that confidence because, I mean, not so much with COVID, but I guess like before, you're kind of close to each other as well. So I think maybe for some people it's also a challenge and little by little it gets better.
Yeah, I felt this a very, very convenient tool and it works in partnership without even talking about it. So you don't have to introduce each other. You probably just by a nod and eye contact, and then you just direct people onto the focus pad. So a lot of my clients have speech impediment, so they struggle to speak anyway, but they don't need to because they know what they should do. They just get that visual prompt. By working in partners, sometimes 2 to 3 partners together, you just get that collaboration and social skills for a lot of people. So they know they are not there alone. They will always have a partner. So that's a very, very important as well. So yeah, so I started everything from the box exercise, and with Parkinson's actually, with the box exercise with Parkinson's it's fairly recent. It's only from last year. But prior to that, I was doing dance for Parkinson's. So that was with music, with the rhythm and beat, and the melody, and obviously lots of meaningful movement that describe people's moods and their life experience. I was using all that other techniques to help people to move by doing dance and music. I equally enjoy that very, very much. Yeah.
That's nice. So boxing, dance, anything else? Is it like
anything? It's just general exercises. So we got people not into dance. We don't have boxing gloves, all that stuff. So we said we can just do generic exercise, and then we determine what type of exercise. When I talk to you a little bit more about your needs, if it's a group of people, then I definitely need to get an understanding about what everyone is, where their fitness level, and then I will decide. Some people will prefer seated. Some people will prefer standing, but with the support of a chair or kitchen counter. They want to support, but be on their feet. So everything has to be measured to make sure they get the most out of it. So when I say generic exercise, what that means the theme can be flexible. So they can be doing some sort of dance. It could be based on the theme. It could be based on their song of choice, or ballet theme. It could be a relaxation stretch theme for them. Like a few days ago, it was quite hot, and we have a session about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It was fairly hot, so we kind of adapt our routines. We have to adapt our routines with the temperature, with the back of our heads, and not to go too hot, and focusing on different elements of the body movement to make sure people still exert that energy to boost their cardiovascular ability and strength ability. And without getting them dehydrated. So everything has to be well thought of. But yeah, you can ask me to teach anything. I don't teach cycling, I don't teach swimming, I pretty much teach everything else.
Wow, that's impressive. And so, who are your clients? Who is directly reaching out to you? Is it hospitals or schools, or who's reaching out to you?
Yeah, so they are either the parents of the children who have certain diagnosis of disabilities, or the carers of a certain person. So yeah, you mean generic term will be the person who does most of the care job. We get referrals from GPs, we get referral from physiotherapy, we get referral from Children's Trust and other organizations. Sometimes we get asked to deliver session for people with hearing impairment or visual impairment. So yeah, so you could be individual family, or you could be activity coordinator that they already have a group that need of exercise support. So yes, it just depends whether it's a specific workshop for a group that's established, or an individual person who wanted to reach out to some activities for the project I set up in the community for people in the community to access. They don't need referral.
Nice. Okay, so we'll definitely leave your website in the description box so that if anyone is interested, they can just click and check out your work. But so, what is your really the favorite thing about your job right now?
My favorite thing is the miracle of getting people to move. It's a miracle of the movement happened. And it's one of the best feeling. And I'm not even saying it's my doing. I don't think it's down to me. I think it's effort. It's gone way beyond. It's lots of effort from mutual parties, sometimes 3 or 4 people to get the movement happening. But it's that moment of starting to move, also starting to come out of their comfort zone. Sometimes movement doesn't happen, but the comfort zone, the behavior happens in the head, and we can see that. We can see that for especially elders, that when they express their achievement with a smile, when they express their achievement with a hand gesture, we know it's happening, we are on the right track. So that's what I love the most, and then we progress from there. So it's the outcome of person's determination and consistently attending our session. It means the world to us.
Yeah, no, I can imagine how rewarding that must feel. And also, I guess, some people might be sort of, resistant or not really involved. And then one day, for some reason, they just start to do it, and
Yes.
I don't know,
Yes.
they just start to get involved.
That's it. It's a lot of time. A session, the person come to a session, and it's probably nothing happens there. At the first and 2 or 3 session, probably the person might be just sit there and watch or listen or just be curious about it. And then gradually that will develop a small amount of movement. It could be a fingertips, it could be a toe, it could be a knee, it could be a tap, it could be a shoulder lift. But the consistency is very, very important. So a few weeks down the line, you will see more visible movement. You will see more. And I've seen it so many times from people at all age, not necessarily elders. People think it's just older people. Actually, no. A lot of young people who couldn't move or refuse to or being scared to or lacking confidence, they will come in a session and they will just sit. And then by attending weekly, you can see they start to ask for things. They say, Nora, can I have that ball? Nora, can I just smell that glove? Nora, can I just whatever, can I just stand up and sit down? Can I just go out for a little fresh air and coming back in the classroom? So it starts to happen, and it just takes time, but I know I have every faith in consistency. No matter what frequency that is, it could be every week, it could be once, it could be fortnightly, once every 3 times, as long as you have a consistency there, and then all the input won't really go wasted.
Yeah, Yeah, so sometimes it's very gradual. And so it just made me think, are you alone when you run your sessions or do you have help?
Most of the time I am alone. We get helpers, volunteers. If it's a charity contract, they already have their own volunteers taking register, all that stuff. But most of the time I am alone. In my community classes, I do often get volunteer help. And that has been a great experience. So that hasn't been that long. It's only been about a year or two. I get volunteers come in to help set up the room, welcoming people, sometimes to give them that extra assurance when they're feeling wobbly. Sometimes it's bringing them things or explain. I need to demonstrate some drills and then I need a partner. So I ask volunteers to facilitate that. So we often get asked to present in events, big massive festival or events or summer fair. Then volunteer will be involved in that aspect of it, and that is a different type of work and different type of social interaction, and it's been a great fun. So I'm very grateful. I have a very small team of volunteer now. They support me online, so they are a lot younger than me, so they're more savvy on social media. They're more cleverer so they support me in that aspect of helping the activity stay invisible online. So there's always things that worth learning. I'm still learning, and so today they grow with me. So it's been great.
That sounds good. And so, yeah, no, how big are the groups usually? How many people at once?
The busiest, I do cap the numbers. The busiest of the boxer size group, I got up to 19 people. And that was a little bit beyond. I thought, that's it, I'm not going anymore. It's not actually I can't manage them. I can do. It's all done. I've done this weeks after weeks after weeks. It's also it's the amount of equipment I had to carry, and because everyone have different size of hand. I had to make sure I pick the right equipment for their hand and right colors as well. Some people don't prefer blue, they prefer yellow. To always swapping. I got loads of equipment, so I need to swap them and put them in the right bag and then carry them. I do get 18, 19. That is my own session. In the past, the dance session, I got as many as 80 people in the morning. So that's 80. That's 2 classes. So each class will have 40 people. So that is a lot. But because I have a mic, so my voice are louder and projected, so everyone can hear. We make sure everyone's doing it safely and enjoying and getting the best of exercise.
Yes, and so yeah, no, you must be very busy. But so how did COVID impact your job? How is it different now?
Impact massively. Like it happened to many business. I was confused. I was lost. I don't know what to do. I don't know whether I should carry on continue. We rely heavily on partnership. We rely heavily with our equipment. So obviously, all of a sudden, I can't do any box exercise. We can't share equipment. We can't even be in the same room. So that went. I stopped doing the box exercise for about 7 weeks. Until June, I decided to pick it up again. So literally, I go into my own Facebook group. I start to do demonstration without the equipment. A little bit similar to shadow boxing, but again, it's very adapted for people who's watching. My audience are not mainstream people. They find access to my movement and to my cueing. So I was doing that. I was trying that. And I realized I can still deliver a box exercise session without equipment. And what's more good news that they don't have to be in the same room. So minimum amount of risk. I engage more people outside my local area. So the Birmingham, which is the city next to me, is a massive place. And a lot of time people ask me to deliver a session to somewhere really far I couldn't get to. Now they can engage with me online. So we now have weekly box exercise sessions. Again, we're not going to get up to 19. I need to keep cap the number at a reasonable time. We've been doing holiday sessions, and now it's about 3 weeks since school starts now, 3.5 weeks. So I think by this time the school will be kind of settled, people will settle in the new routine and work, we actually restarted picking this back up from tomorrow. So I'm really, really excited. My other side of exercises, I've converted my senior clients, some of them anyway, not all of them. I converted the senior clients online since the beginning of lockdown.
Wow.
So I've been delivering weekly pre-recorded video to them. So they pay a very affordable subscription cost. And we have just done a full 6 months of the subscriptions. So it must have been about 100 videos now, because I run 2 groups. One is for standing, one is for seated. So I've been doing that I give them about 2 to 3 videos per week.
Wow.
I had to film it.
Yes.
So that one has been going for about 6 months and still ongoing. It is there to stay, to engage people who I can't physically reach them, but we can benefit them. So although now I personally won't go back into the community for another few weeks. We're going to resume our weekly session on Zoom. So that will be a live session on Zoom with me. So again, anybody can join really if you feel like you need a bit of guidance on starting to exercise, but you don't want to go mad. You want something who has experience to give you the right advice, to really take an interest about the requirement. Now they can come live to not only to exercise with me, to ask questions in real time. So it's just catering for different people really.
Mm-hmm.
Some of my senior clients just cannot get around. They cannot get around using the Facebook or the Zoom.
Yes.
So they will prefer to use YouTube. So I will do whatever I do. I film it and I send the link to them.
Yeah.
So it's just finding different ways of connecting and communicating with people. Yeah, it's hard, but we're getting better at it.
Yes, I can really imagine how at the beginning of lockdown it was really challenging. And yeah, as you said, I think some of your patients, it's not the best way to connect with them, because I'm thinking also, even autism, things like that. I'm guessing some people could have an issue with that, but then everybody kind of gets used to that.
Yes.
And then it's also becoming an opportunity because you get to help more people in the country.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a real shift for you as well. But yeah, I guess it's interesting to see how we are able to adapt and find solution and keep going. I think it's quite inspiring.
Yes, it does take a lot of effort and trial and error. Last 6 months has not been easy for us. And obviously, a lot of my volunteers has gone off to do other things, but I do have a very few still supporting us to stay visible on the social media side. And we do understand that the online delivery is not for everyone. Not everyone can get on with all this Zoom, Facebook Live. They can't always get on with it. So we just have to accept it and finding different ways to communicate them and keep on pushing the stuff that is done successfully, and just encourage more people to get involved with us. They don't have to do the session if they don't want to. If they just want to ask questions on the phone or message me or text, we are always here to support. And when time is right, we'll return back in the community, but we're keeping the online going again, because right now as we speak, we have people so far away from me could not possibly attend the physical session. So we'll be keeping the online going at the same time as the in-person with stream live. And same as the subscription, some people just cannot get on with the subscription because they just don't want to. They want to do live session and pay as you go, which is fine. So we have a different package for different people. Yeah, and it's adaptable. I think everyone has been becoming more open-minded, becoming more flexible to the way we tweak, to the way we change, after the initial shock and the initial struggle with the mental health, the physical health. A lot of people have kind of gone over the worst and are just looking at the positive and what could be the way forward, because eventually we will come out, don't we? We will return to normal.
Let's hope so. But yeah, I think everyone really became more understanding. I guess this is something that really happened. And I wanted to ask you, is there any like success story that you would like to share? Something that marked you with one of your participants?
Success story, one of them, there are many, but on top of my head, the one I remembered is I managed to, it was one of my Parkinson clients, and he suddenly was able to stand up, and he hadn't done that for 8 years. So he was in a wheelchair. He came in a wheelchair into the session.
8 years.
8 years. That's what I've been told.
Wow.
For people who knew him well. And I think I was delivering class then. I was doing it about a year or so at that point. And he's been taken to the session, so he's always there every week. And he could talk and stuff, and we joke. And one of the days I was doing the sit to stand exercise, and suddenly found him standing there, and my jaw just dropped to the floor. It is amazing. It's amazing. I'm beyond happy for him. So yeah, that's just one of the things I can remember.
That must have been very emotional.
It was emotional. Yeah, it was very emotional. And I think other memory is people who refuse to talk to me, who refuse to make eye contact with me, but in my environment, but they're in my session, but they will refuse to do that. And all of a sudden, they changed. There's a shift in their attitude and in their mindset about certain activity that's happening in the community hall, and they started to do it. They started to kind of participate in the box exercise, for example. So it's a real shift. What else? I think I've done quite a lot of events as well, and a lot of things happen at the event. So yeah, so people never envisage a person with a hearing impairment that they could do boxing. They could do box exercise. Usually it's the parents or the carers who underestimate the person's ability. When they came to me, I don't have any knowledge about their background. I test. I look at the person, I listen to what's been described, I work around, I find different drills, I use different equipment, I make eye contact, and I talk to the person like it's the same level as me, and then I just try different things, and it's happened. Usually that leave people with a lot of surprise, and they comment will be like, I never ever imagined that would happen. So that is a pretty kind of, it's a not just rewarding, it's very empowering for the person who, for my participants, empowering moment. Those moments don't come often. Yeah, and it comes with time and effort.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
And so, by the way, how long do you usually have sessions with a participant for? Is it like 1 year, or... I mean, I guess it depends. I guess some people come to one session and it's maybe not for them, or some people have been with you since the beginning. That's a very good question. Again, as you already said, it depends. Depends on the person. Some people might be to try once and decide right then, no, not for them, so they might not come. Some people will come weekly. So usually the sessions are weekly. You have to do it weekly to see the result. Some people do it weekly and get on really well. They continue to return, and they probably will stay with me, usually quite a long term. And then they have a little break. Due to whatever reason at home, we don't know people's circumstances at home and their struggles, anxiety, sometimes it's a care support. They stop and then they return afterwards. So it's a very common that people come with me for a certain time and then they stop and they come back again. But we do have a lot of participants been with me for the past 3-4 years. Wow.
And they believed they've been benefited from the exercise and all the support around it. Not just exercise, sometimes the words of encouragement, confidence and boost, and that feeling less lonely. So they will keep coming back to the circle. Sometimes these people that they come once and they don't like it and they go back, and then about a few months later they thought about it again, they come again. They try it again. So the first session is always, no matter what you teach, no matter the person, first session is the most difficult one. It's the most wobbly one. And especially if you know, even though you know somebody you know will be there in the session, but if it's your first time, it's a new experience, the first session is always the most wobbly one. People will have lots of doubts in their head. People will feeling nervous, and that feeling can be overwhelming and affects one's behavior and mental capacity to handle the movement, handle the difficulty. Sometimes they might not accept that things need to be tried a few times. But we always talk about that with before they come to session. There's always a conversation happen beforehand. We make sure this is what usually happens, but please let's do some work on that before they come. So you come in with a positive attitude, and you can see come in, everyone's very friendly. Nora is okay, Nora is not scary, even though online, online is almost the same. So even when you're at home, it's a massive anxiety barrier reduced. You're at home and you can do exercise without the anxiety of mixing with other people.
And even getting out of the house, because I think, for some people, it is a big step, to begin with.
For my clients, 95% people have that barriers. So that's one of the main things we work on. It's not the magic of exercise. It's actually it's the mental preparation. It's the mindset. It's the mindset of helping them feel comfortable.
It's everything
about this new thing, whether it's online or not. Just not long ago, about 4 weeks ago, I had an outdoor session. The person who attended is an adult age, and I have been trying to get him to go online throughout the whole summer holiday. He's a very adamant, no, definitely not. You will not do it. Okay, that's fine. But outdoor session, you can see me. Would you be interested? Oh, yes. So he came. He did a session with me. He loved it. He said, I joined you online.
Aww.
So the anxiety suddenly diminished.
That's true.
Just by that extra step of seeing me. So I'm really, really happy.
Yes, you can be.
Yeah, take time a different way of getting through them.
Yes, I can imagine. And so what's the advice that you would like to share?
Oh, I won't offer people advice. I just give you my own reflection. I hope you will find it helpful. The first and foremost is no one size fits all. That is so important. There's no one size fits all. Even though you have the same diagnosis, the behavior will be different. Even though I'm doing the same thing with other people, doesn't mean I'm doing the same with you. So personalization is quite important to us, and that's what we specialize in as a company. We do box exercise as a theme, but each individual has to be adapted specifically to make sure it's the right thing for you. Same with dance or other exercise. There's no one size fits all. That's the first. And secondly is exercise is not the only answer. It's the confidence we're working towards too. It's that we build confidence. We had to start somewhere, finding out what is the barrier, what is the mental barrier, anxiety barrier. We talked a lot about anxiety, so that remains as a priority. We need to understand that for the time being, what could be the anxiety barrier, and we'll work on the confidence level. A third thing would be things take time and things grow. People who came to my sessions 4 or 5 years ago, the session will be different now. You look different now because we have just had so many years of development and different way of doing things, and we are more experienced in that. We still continue learning. So things always grow. Same with the person that you're looking at helping. They probably not able to do that before. Now you can think about encouraging that person to participate or do whatever you want to do, try new things. So that brings me to the fourth one, always try. Always try. Please be consistent. And that's where you get the outcome. Try new things and be consistent at that thing. And effort is mutual.
Yeah, this is beautiful. A lot of valuable advice, really. So I'm gonna meditate on that because I think it could be used on so many different occasions, actually, not just what you do, but actually in positive education in general. So thank you for that, and thank you for joining us today. It was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me, Julie. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much for listening. Feel free to share if you think it might be helpful to someone you know. If you enjoyed this episode, then please make sure to write a review if you're listening on Apple Podcast and subscribe if you haven't already. That's it for me. See you soon with the next episode, and in the meantime, have a lovely day.